Good morning, this is Lene with Bloom Feather Studio, and today we are going to be painting a misty mountain scene. I'm going to be using this as a Father's Day card for my husband. And I have two examples here. This is the first example. It kind of has like I used a little bit of a green and a pink to make, or a blue to make kind of a variation in color. And this one here is just two colors. It's pink and Payne's gray. Okay, these are the colors that we're going to be using. I have some Payne's gray by Holbein, but you can use any black or really dark color that you want. Use your favorite dark color. And then I just kind of pulled out as an example of other colors you can use. Permanent rose, and I have peacock blue here, also from Holbein. Okay, but really you can use any color that you want. Okay, so I cut out a card, a piece of paper. It is 9 by 5-inch paper. You can make it whatever size you want. I'm going to have it be a landscape orientation, and with the opening pointing down like this. I'm going to go ahead and tape the sides up, and then we'll get started. Okay, so I taped up the sides of the card, and make sure when you tape it that you know which side is the folded side and which is the open side. I had to untape mine because I forgot which side I had open. So I also, since this is much smaller, I drew in, I don't know if you can see it, I drew in my mountain. And what you want is, you want a diamond shape where the top point and the bottom point are not in the same vertical line. So my top point is over here, my bottom point is over here, just a little bit off center. And I also have the side over here touching. Since it's a vignette, we'll have the sky coming down here, and we'll have the side of the mountain touching here, the bottom of the mountain touching here, and then we'll have it trail off here as if maybe there's some water. Okay, so I'm going to get started by taking my wedge brush. So this is a Princeton 5/8 inch brush. You can use whatever flat brush or wedge brush that you want. I think this is called an angular shader. Okay, I'm going to wet it, and I'm going to go ahead and just wet the card from top to bottom, all the way down, nice and wet. And then I'm going to go ahead and do it vertically as well, get it all nice and wet. Okay, so now that it's wet, I'm going to let it soak in for a second. I'm going to dry off the sides a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my piece of paper towel and just get an edge like this. And I'm going to go ahead and dry off the edge of my mountain, because I want this to be a little bit of a sharper edge to it. So dry it off on the sky side, so that when you put paint on it, it kind of washes down the mountain. Okay, then I'm going to take some of my Payne's gray, put a little bit of pink in it, just a bit, and I'm going to test it here. Let me get a piece of scrap paper, test it out. Okay, so that's what it looks like, maybe a little bit more pink. Okay, but remember, you can use whatever color you want. So I'm going to go ahead and get pink on my brush, and then at the very tip of my brush, I'm going to put a little bit of Payne's gray, just like a thicker mix of Payne's gray, so that it's darker at the top, like this. Oh. Okay. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pointing my brush at the tip of the mountain. I'm going to start at the top and just take it down the mountain. Kind of in a wavy line. Okay, I'm going to get a little more Payne's Gray here because this is pretty pink. So I'm going to go ahead and put more Payne's Gray right at the edge using the edge of my wedge brush. Okay, and then make a nice tip up here. And then I'm going to clean off my brush and dry it off and take it down the mountain like this. And as I get to the bottom, I'm going to pick it up so that the paint, tap it so the paint flows down a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of get some clean water and swirl it to make it more misty. Okay, now I'm going to get a little bit more color down here at the bottom of the mountain. So I'm just putting some water here so it's nice and wet. I'm going to get a little bit more color down here. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in using my brush. Kind of tap it in and then trail it off a little here. Okay, I like that. And then I'm going to get less paint, so I'm going to wash it off just a little bit, and I'm going to take it down to the bottom here. Kind of pulling up the paint a little bit into the mountain. I'm going to go ahead and get a little more paint so that it's right at the edge here. And take it down to the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to swirl it, wet and dry off my brush. Kind of make it misty. So kind of pull it up into the mountain. And take it back up. Let me see, we have some paint. I have some paint coming down here, so I'm gonna take that off a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna add a little paint here and then pull it up. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of blue to my paintbrush and add a little bit of blue in here just for variety. And just kind of pull it over the color on the ocean side. I'm going to add some texture here, kind of coming down the mountain, some lines. making sure they're all kind of pointing in toward the mountain, but in a little bit different directions. Okay, and then clean off my brush a little bit and dry it off and soften those out. That's too much color. So just kind of tap it around, get some more color, pull it off a little bit so that it looks misty. And then I'm going to make maybe some texture right about here in the middle of the mountain by just adding some color. So I'm just adding texture. I think I'm gonna add some, getting some more paint, coming here. Here at the bottom. And there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and pretty much leave this. So for this mountain here, I did add trees. I'll show you. I did add some trees. So I added really soft faded trees here at the bottom. And then there was a little bit of a bloom here and a little bloom here. And so I made those into trees as well. And you can do that if you want. The thing to think about is that it really puts your mountain in perspective. So this looks more like a hill because my trees were so big. Whereas if you see this one, you don't really have that perspective. So it can be, you know, a really large mountain from far away. So I'm not sure that I'm going to add texture or that I'm not going to add trees to this one. I just added more dark right here. You want to make sure you connect the top of the mountain to the bottom here with color, but just a little bit of color. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this. And then I'm gonna get some fresh water because look, my water's dark. I'll get some fresh water and then I'm going to do the sky. Okay, now for the sky, I'm gonna take some clean water and I'm just gonna go ahead and wet the top, taking care not to wet the mountain part, but give it a good wash all the way down to the mountain, but don't touch the mountain. Like so. Okay, then I'm just going to take a wash of a pale grayish blue and I'm just going to tap it into the top here on both sides along the top here, and then I'm going to tip it up so that it flows down. Maybe tap a little bit more in here so that it flows down the side. Like so. Just going to add a little bit more at the top, using some blue and some gray here. On either side. some in the middle. Just gonna clean this off here a little bit because it has too much water. Clean the bottom here. Okay. If you want to, you can add a little bit of a different color in there for some variance. So maybe I could add a little pink. Coming down, just really pale. I'm going to go ahead and add some color down here to the water. I'm going to go in this direction here. And again, taking care not to touch the mountain. Just the teeniest bit of color. I'm going to go ahead and add the same blue down at the bottom here. Over in this corner. Tip it up a little bit. Let it flow over. A little more color in the corners. Let it flow. Okay, now this is dry, and I traced on it Happy Father's Day. I got this font off the internet, so I'm just going to go ahead and trace it with my black marker, and I will show you the result at the end. Okay, here is the final result of the card. I went ahead and put Happy Father's Day on it. I decided not to do any birds, but you can if you want. And it opens like this. I think he's really gonna like it. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.